Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you to everybody who's listening in the podcast. Before I continue, guys, I wanted to thank you everybody who follows me on Spotify. Please, if you haven't followed me, please do so. That really helps me as a content creator. The same thing. I also offer subscriptions to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I believe it's just like $1.99 a month. Subscribing to the podcast will help me get better equipment and also helps me continue to create content. So if you've been listening for a while now, I will invite you to subscribe to the podcast. You can do it through Spotify or even Apple Podcasts. And thank you so much, everybody who has been following me and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Really means a lot, you guys. Today is August 6th, August 6th, Tuesday, 2024. I needed to come here and speak about this, guys, because once again, we see this trend. And I don't want to really make you think that it's a trend, it's a passing thing. We known since like late last year that 2024 was going to be the year of exposure because everything has led it up to be like that, right? We have seen a lot of people being exposed. A lot of, it tells you, once you see people being exposed, with evidence, it's like, wow, people are faking it, right? People are really faking it. And, that's okay. People want to, people have the freedom to choose whatever, right? But when you are covering yourself, saying that you are a Christ believing person and that you want to, get into ministry and deceive people, pretending to be something that you're not. That's when we as Christ believing people, we will have a problem with that. And we want God to expose everybody, right? And God forbid if, we call out for exposure and we are doing hidden things and we're playing with the fear of the Lord, right? Because God says, look at your own eye too, right? So we have to be careful about that. And it's just throughout the year, right? It's already August. I mean, the days are going very fast this year, in case you haven't noticed. I think this year has been very eye-opening for a lot of people. But it's almost like case after case, like every other day, there's some pastor, there's some church ministry, there's something that happens that tell us the state of the church right now. And it's terrifying, guys. There's a lot of people out there with big ministries hidden behind pulpits, calling one thing and, doing this with the finger and you should do this and you should do the other, and doing different things behind closed doors and thinking that God is just going to let them continue on like nothing is happening. Like, that's the whole thing that I was saying. Before you even ask God to expose something, make sure you're looking in yourself in the mirror. We're so quick to point fingers and we don't grab a mirror. And we think that everybody else doesn't have one, right? Nobody has a mirror. We are the ones who are to be doing this to everybody instead of looking on our own. So yeah, this is also a message for myself too, that I also have to ask God to reveal things that I should be changing, right? And that's the whole thing about, doing this to other people without knowing, is that you tend to judge before knowing, because you might do this to somebody, you should stop doing that, do this to the other, but you don't know if that person's in a process of already changing, right? But by doing this, it will create an offense to somebody, and that's why you have to keep your mouth shut. A lot of people say the fruit of the spirit is self-control. A lot of people only think that belongs just to food, right? Because they're so quick to judge people by appearance, and self-control is also knowing what to say and when to say things. And you're not called to say everything that comes to your mind either. That comes in that moment, right? So it's just taming the tongue and being careful, right? And speaking about that, what I'm going to talk to you guys about, I'm going to read to you guys about this article that was published regarding pastors, right? Um, it's just, if anything, everything that we are seeing lately with pastors is that also a reminder to us that at the end of the day, these are just human people too. Like, We put pastor in pedestal. Every pastor out there that you see these days is a quote unquote celebrity. And what do we do with celebrity? We worship them, right? They can never do anything wrong. Everything they do is amazing. And you need to understand these people, a lot of these big ministries, these people that they put in the pedestal, meaning the main character, the main pastor, these people go to classes just to even speak to others. Public speaking classes, they have a wardrobe person, right? They have people who maintain them updated with what is trending on social media so that they can be relevant when they're giving a sermon. It's almost like it is a brand behind the church. And by God exposing all these pastors, I think God is telling us, because we know God doesn't like idolatry. We know this. It's very clear in the Bible. We need to remember that behind, people in the pulpits, they're just sinners just like us who need the Lord, who need the Lord. So having them exposed is telling us, right? I think this is, my interpretation is the reason why that's happening is that not everything is as it seems, right? People want to tell you what you want to hear. And also we need to stay away from idolatry. Just because people carry a Bible and their photo is in the poster at a church doesn't mean that they are close to God. Just because they go to serve every weekend doesn't mean they're close to God. If anything, that probably tells you that there's a lot of pride behind that, because it's everything that they do is based on works. It is impossible for somebody to think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be there. I'm gonna be available every Sunday. Like it's not impossible for somebody to do. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we need to remember that God says it's not by works. So when you think you're just gonna be there every single time and volunteering and being available, because it gives you some type of boost, and people will say to you, you're always here, you're a man of God, you're always here. Like it makes you wonder. A lot of people do things out of routine, and they do it out of, this is what we do this as our family, this is what we do. And also remember, a lot of people are on payroll. In these churches, a lot of people are on payroll. So we need to, if we want to really know, like, um, basically what I'm saying is don't base things on just the appearance. Go deeper than that, right? Not everything is as it seems, okay? You have to really get to know people, right? Things are getting, the Bible speaks about the last days, about the false prophet, right? So imagine if we're so quick to put people on pedestal just because we see them in church every Sunday, or because they always tell you the right thing. Those people, like I always mention, like they speak to you with Bible verses. It gets to a point that you're like, are you serious? Can you stop it right now? Like, can you be just genuine for a moment? Everything you say, you might be walking with them and you say, it's such a beautiful day today. Okay, they might say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Okay, I get it. We're Christ believing people. I get it. Okay, and then you say, I'm concerned. This economy is getting bad, and like inflation and all of that. And they might say to you, God will supply your needs according to His. Okay, you know what? Like by the second one, like really, like, come on, like there's something so beautiful about being genuine, and people forget that. So it's like, just be real. Like, you don't have to speak in this lingo. Like, who are you trying to be? Just because you know Bible verses, like, come on. And we need to, if we're really gonna be, if we don't want to be deceived, there's a false prophet that's going to come. There's a lot of people, the Bible says they're going to say, there is the Christ, and we're going to be we're going to be so easily deceived because people speak in Bible lingo, or they speak with, others say the right things, right? A lot of people use flattery just to get something from you. People, I can't deal with flattery. Like, really, like, it's so easy for me to spot it on people, and it's like, really, don't do that. Like, that's so annoying. I mean, I don't say it like that, because then you're the rude person, right? But I'm saying, like, then you're like, really, what are we doing here with the flattery, right? So yeah, we need to be, I think, exposing a lot of all these, quote unquote men of God. Not only God is telling us that we cannot just believe everything we see, right? We got to go deeper than the surface, right? And know that people in pulpits, they're human beings just like us. They need God, right? And they need a savior. They're into sin, and a lot of times they fall down, and they need forgiveness, and they need a help. But removing them from ministry is the best thing, like, not everybody, you can't play these two games where you're telling people stay away from sin, and the minute you get off the pulpit, there you are sinning. Or you might be sinning mentally and say, oh, these people, so many people in today, why they're all here? Like, it's going to mess up with this, and we're short on time. And like, that's all you're thinking about. But you're preaching about the love of God, but mentally, you're like a different person. You think God is not going to see that. So yeah, I'm thankful that things are being exposed when it comes to that, because God is not mad. People think they're gonna pretend, they're gonna fake it, and they're just gonna continue on with life. So I'm very happy to see that. But like I said, just even saying that, I have to examine myself too, because we can't go like this and think that God is, like, really, like, you look at your eye too. So we have to be so careful when it comes to something like that. But yeah, a lot of people, guys, in the churches, the Church of Christ, we're so easily deceived, right? I mean, like, let me give you a quick example. I'm going to tell you about these pastors, right? But quick example, like, um, I don't know why he keeps coming to my mind. Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus Christ in the Passion of the Christ. Like, what is the deal with people putting Jim Caviezel on a pedestal? And this man knows how to play the game. I don't know what it is with him, guys. I really hope there's nothing that he's doing, like, behind that it hasn't been exposed yet. I understand he did Sound of Freedom, but this man, you look at him in interviews, right? And you look at him just like speaking, like, in interviews and like behind the scenes, like, dude, you're not playing Jesus right now. Get off character. It's like, oh my goodness, the movie Passion of the Christ came out, what, in 2003 or something, 2004. Jim Caviezel, every interview, he's like, he thinks he's like, the way he's talking, it's like he's playing this character still. He's playing this character because he knows that with that movie would put him in a pedestal. I'm not saying, I'm not marking anything about the movie, nothing like that. If anything, I really like the movie, but I'm saying, like, flattery is very dangerous, and if people want to move the waters, they'll tell you what you want to hear, and they tell you, they pretend to be this character because back then this movie grabbed so many people, and we put him in a pedestal. He's also just a man who was born a sinner, and who needs a savior. And we don't know, like, I don't know if he accepted Christ. He probably had already, but he's just a sinner just like all of us. So we need to be so careful about that. Like I said, it's going to come a false prophet, just because they're saying Jesus, and and quote a couple Bible verses, doesn't mean that they're men of God, right? We need to go deeper than that, right? So let me read to you briefly. He says your North Texas churches has seen a string of high-profile departure in recent weeks amid claims of moral failures, immoral behavior, and in some cases, sexual abuse. At least 7 North Texas pastors from mostly mega churches have resigned or have been fired since May 2024, okay? Seven pastors from Texas fired from big mega churches since May of this year, guys. 3 have been arrested on charges, and another one is under internal church investigation for similar allegations. The enemy is not wasting time, and he's gonna attack people who dedicated probably their life to do ministry. He's gonna go for that first. So, like I said, when they get exposed and things are being revealed, the best thing as a church is to remove them from the position, obviously, and go through counseling, and don't just be like, oh yeah, they finished course A through C, so they're good to go now. No, you have to give them time to basically adjust, right? It's going to be a process, even if it takes a year, maybe take longer, right? And they don't belong in every ministry, right? You can put, like they had this pastor who was a registered sex offender in a different state. Like, are you kidding me? Right? You're not gonna put a person who, you don't hire somebody to be the treasurer at the church and be like, oh, this is your resume. Oh, okay. So you work for a bank and you got fired for robbing the bank, okay, for stealing money, and then you work at a department store and then you got fired from that job because you stole money. Okay, then you're gonna be our treasurer here. Like, that is so stupid. So why are we like? Don't use the same judgment when it comes to putting people in a ministry, right? We need to be so careful about that. And just because it could be somebody who's very talented singing, yeah, what you think? Like, if you have a big mega church and you put a person who sings, oh, she a beautiful voice. Like, nobody cares, like, about, getting to know who they are, what do they do in their free time, nothing like that. She's so talented and she's so cute. She's going to be the lead singer. Okay, what do you think a new person checking out the church is going to do the minute they find out who that lead singer is? They're going to search for them on Instagram, and they're going to have the biggest cultural shock in their life when they see somebody singing what a beautiful name it is on Sunday, and then like right after church, I go, that's her name? Okay, maybe she has, oh yeah, she's on Instagram. Oh my goodness, she's like all crazy about Nicki Minaj. And you're gonna be like, are you kidding me? This is our lead singer? And people are gonna be like, there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, there's a lot of things wrong with that, okay? There's a lot of things wrong with that. People don't even think about that stuff, right? You could be the only person, you could be the only person, the only Jesus somebody knows. So you have to, you have to be careful about things like that. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of this ministry, they don't go deeper. They're like, oh, she's so cute, she's so pretty, there she's gonna be, singing all day. No, regardless if they're talented, doesn't mean that that's their ministry to do that. Okay, a lot of people do that, just not with the right heart. So we have to be so careful about that. So 7 pastors from big mega churches in Texas, like it says here, has been fired or have been stepped down because moral failure. A lot of them has been found guilty for abuse and all of that. Some of them are being investigated. It says here, Peter Singer, executive director of Godly Response to Abuse in the Christian Environment, said it is important a church is transparent with its members when a person has been abused, harmed, or has harmed an individual. I think transparency is everything, right? It says here, Cross Timbers church lead pastors Josiah Anthony resigned from his position in late July. He says, as the board said to the members that they have become aware of events and circumstances with Anthony that have occurred over the past few years. The church asked him to resign, citing hurtful and inappropriate actions. Yeah, The reason that I say that like that is because I remember just going to this church long time ago, and this pastor was just so like I don't know if it was the spirit of lust or something operating in him, but this man would would like I don't even want to like say too much, but there's a lot of behavior that gets excused because these people get in the pulpit. There's a lot of behavior that gets excused in the church. The elders the people that collect the money. What are the deacons and everybody? They know what's up, but they don't say anything because he's the pastor. What you want me to say, right? Remember this pastor would, this pastor will always be by the door, right? And he would just like, dude, can I have my hand back? Checking your hand, holding the hand, and doing this thing with his lips, right? It's like, are you okay? And then it's like, oh my goodness, you know what? Like it was just so bad. And and then one time I had to go talk to him about, because I was I was doing the, speaking of treasurer, I was collecting, not keeping track of the tithes and offerings, right? One time I had to go to him, like talk to him, and this pastor, you guys, he's like complimenting my makeup. But like, are you serious, dude? Like, I feel so bad. I'm like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with this guy, with this, because immediately it's not just him. You're like, I want nothing to do with this church. And the reason why automatically, it gets automatically, it's not, if the pastor does something, there's 99% chance that people would not just look at the pastor or look at the pastor as being the church, right? And I was like, I want nothing to do with this church. Because this man hold my hand again, right? And he kind of grabbed me close and said, I wanted to tell you, like, I love how you do your eyes. Like, are you serious? I thought to myself, are you kidding me right now? Like, you're talking about my makeup? And like, no, so inappropriate. So inappropriate. Like, it was just, you know, it was just crazy. It's so crazy. And I haven't thought about that in a while. But that did happen. And I was like, I don't want to be here. And then I was like, man, I'm already like, I was, by then I was already involved with the children's ministry, and like, I was involved with the helping the treasurer count. I would prepare the deposits for everything. Like I will count the offerings, the tithes, keep the record. At the end of the year, I will prepare the tax document for every church member who I was involved in a lot of stuff, right? And when that happened, I'm like, I don't want nothing to do here. Like, I was so done, you guys. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it is, we have to be so careful when it comes to that. Like, people think, I know now he's no longer like a pastor. I know that. It could be because he's older. I don't know if something happened. I really don't keep up with that church. But all these pastors being fired in Texas or being asked to resign. Like I said, the reason that I said about that pastor is like I want nothing to do with this church, is because the people, the pastor always has this group of men around them, right? The elders, right? The deacons, the people who do the financing for the church, the worship leaders, the people that are basically there when the church is now open, that they're like around planning and all of that. These people know who the pastor is. They know how he operates. They know his behavior. They know what he wants, and they basically do everything in their power to forget about doing things for the Lord. This is what the pastor wants. This is what goes on, right? So that's why I felt so disappointed by the entire church, even though it was just me and the pastor there, because I was like, man, how long has this man been like this? That he can't help himself, right? When he's talking to women to say something, right? And it's just like everybody here, I'm sure they know, they notice, and they don't say anything. Like they were saying about this pastor here, that they learn, we learn about this behavior that's been going on, inappropriate behavior. Like the elders will know. You see the pastors, they always have this groupie of men around them, right? The inner circle of them, right? They know how the pastor operates. They know a lot. It was just so disappointing. So I hope, speaking about this group of men that follow the pastor within the church, right? The inner circle. I really hope a lot of them come out and speak, because if they don't, like they see something inappropriate and they don't speak, like they're going to have to answer to God. Because when God created the church, when he gave Paul, Paul was the one who made he basically, I think it was Paul who created the institution of the church, right? Um, well, Jesus was going to churches when he was here too, but when Paul made the whole, everything laid out basically like how it is in the Bible when it comes to the church, like that was created for the souls, right? That was created for the people, for us, right? And if you are within that inner circle of the pastor and you see bad behavior and you see how jittery this pastor gets when this certain female gets near him, or how he spends a lot of time with her in her office, and you know what's up, and you see that, and you don't do nothing about it, then you think God is not going to come knocking on you? Like, there's a reason for you to be in that position to see something so that you can bring it to somebody's attention, right? And, there's so many things, guys. I know I didn't mean to make this video that long, but there's so many things that we need to be ready for, because God is going to expose his church. He's coming for a clean church. And there's a lot, we need a lot. There's a lot of work to be done, you guys. There's a lot of work to be done. So let's keep, churches in prayers. I really hope that people come clean before they get exposed, because you don't want to be exposed by God, because it's going to be so public and very embarrassing. So, that's, I don't know what else to say about that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Hey, if you have some type of experience that had happened to you within a church, leave a comment if you're brave enough to share it. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel, listening the podcast. Have a good day. God bless.